I spent that year, when I was at my most socially anxious, pretending to be mute in the bed of the New York elite's crown prince. No matter how hard he tried, I bit my lip and didn't utter a sound. Not until his moonlight returned to the US and gave me a severance package of $30 million. In a moment of excitement, I blurted out, "Thank you, boss. You're amazing, boss." I quickly covered my mouth, feeling guilty. The man chuckled, clearly annoyed. "Little mute, don't tell me this is some kind of medical miracle." Gloomy French fry reminds you, the novel, Bamboo's Pure Miracle, begins now. As a mute canary, I didn't have to flatter him outside the bedroom, nor did I have to praise my sugar daddy in bed. My only real frustration was not being able to curse when I got angry. Like now, when Liam Miller realized I was distracted, he grabbed my waist and flipped me over, biting and gnawing as if he wanted to tear off my skin and swallow it whole. "Ah, you jerk," I screamed internally, but on the surface, I was a cowering mess, tears silently streaming down my face. I found an anchor in the swaying motion, wrapping my arms around his neck, and rubbing my face against his in a plea for mercy. From experience, I knew that if I made this expression, Liam would quickly finish, but tonight, he seemed possessed, pulling out one ultra-thin condom after another, moving from the bed to the bathroom to the sofa. He didn't stop until midnight, finally satisfied. As he held me and returned to bed, I was exhausted, but the thought of what was about to happen instantly robbed me of sleep. That afternoon, one of Liam's friends came over. The study door hadn't been fully closed, and I overheard snippets of their conversation. "Lily is returning tomorrow. Is Mr. Miller sending a car or picking her up himself? Lily is not for you to call." Liam's voice was cold. The person quickly corrected himself. Right. I'm not worthy. That's your exclusive pet name." Though he was pleading, it was mostly playful teasing. Everyone in their circle knew that Liam had a moonlight he couldn't forget. He had protected her so well that people only knew she existed but didn't know her name or what she looked like. No one knew why they hadn't ended up together. Once, when I was bored and helping Liam tidy his study, I saw an old, yellowed photo of his moonlight. She was wearing a hat, facing away from the camera, and the half of her face that was visible looked about 80% like me. The memory of my first encounter with Liam flashed through my mind. I was standing on the street, playing on my phone, when a car pulled up in front of me. I didn't pay attention, thinking it was my Uber, and simply opened the door and got in. When you're out and about, you create your own identity. As a socially anxious person, to avoid small talk with drivers, I always took out a pre-prepared roll of paper and pushed it towards them, which read, "I'm mute, please don't talk to me." The moment I pushed my phone forward, I realized the driver was a handsome, distinguished man, so attractive that even the car, which I assumed was an Uber, looked like a luxury vehicle I couldn't afford when he was sitting in it. He looked at my phone screen again and again, stunned for a long time before asking, in a hoarse voice, where I was going. When I saw the photo, I finally understood. Liam's expression at the time wasn't because I got into the wrong car, nor was it because I had fabricated being mute. It was because I looked like his moonlight. The office fell silent for a moment. The conversation resumed. "What about the one at home? She's timid and mute. She probably can't meet people." I didn't listen anymore, turning to leave discreetly. If I didn't leave then, I wouldn't be able to control my emotions and would burst out laughing. It had been 3 years. 3 whole years. 3 years of pretending to be mute, and I had finally made it to the breakup. I was so happy I couldn't sleep. I turned my back to Liam, unlocked my phone, and tapped into the Canary Mutual Aid group. I had been pulled into it by a friendly woman I met while accompanying Liam to a dinner party. The ultimate goal of the group members was to get a sky-high breakup fee, achieve financial freedom, and retire comfortably. I couldn't resist sharing the news in the group. Liam's moonlight is returning to the US soon. As soon as the message went out, all the night owls who hadn't gone to bed yet were alerted. "Ah, congratulations, Chloe, so excited about your moonlight returning. My sugar daddy's moonlight is rumored to be studying in Germany. So jealous. Ladies, mine doesn't even have a moonlight." After a wave of envy, Chloe thoughtfully tagged me. "Mr. Miller is so rich and generous with you. He'll definitely give you a lot for the breakup fee, right?" Liam had always been very generous with me. My monthly allowance was $50,000. Every now and then, he'd send bags or jewelry. Occasionally, he'd have a sudden whim and send luxury cars or mansions. I didn't take the luxury cars or mansions. After all, a poor person couldn't afford to maintain luxury cars or pay the property management fees for a mansion. They were also difficult to take with me, and reselling them meant finding a real estate agent, a thought that made a socially anxious person like me collapse. So, my only hope for revenge was the breakup fee Liam would give me. A few million, or maybe tens of millions? The more I thought about it, the more excited I got, twisting myself into a pretzel on the bed. The next second, the man pulled me into his arms again. Don't want to sleep? His scorching body pressed against mine again. I was so startled I pushed him away with all my limbs. The man clasped his hands and placed them under his face, indicating he'd go to sleep immediately. Tomorrow, I have to go to the airport to pick up someone very important to me. My eyes shot open. I had just closed them. Liam asked, pretending to be casual, want to come with me? I was stunned. Who? He's asking me, the stand-in, to pick up his moonlight? Is he trying to make his moonlight drop dead on the spot? I shook my head vigorously. Liam looked at me steadily. All right, you're timid. You can meet her when you feel like it. Liam always indulged me. When we first got together, he offered to arrange a job for me, but after I refused, he never brought it up again. As a homebody with social anxiety, I was actually a little reluctant to leave this life where I didn't have to go out or work, and food was brought to me. My emotions uncontrollably sank. Just then, my phone vibrated. It was an SMS notification that money had been transferred to my bank account. I probably won't be back tomorrow night. I might not have time to be with you for the next 2 days. Take this money and buy whatever you like. I ignored Liam, my eyes sparkling as I stared at my phone screen. Tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions. I rubbed my eyes and counted again and again. It really was an 8-figure sum. Liam had given me a $30 million severance package. $30 million. Suddenly rich. The money intoxicated me. In a fit of excitement, I blurted out, "Thank you, boss. You're amazing, boss." Our eyes met, and the atmosphere instantly froze. Oh no. I got carried away with excitement and forgot I was mute. How could a person be so polite? Realizing the idiotic thing I had done, I guiltily covered my mouth. My waist went weak, and my body slid down, burying myself in the covers. The next second, the man grabbed the back of my neck and abruptly pulled me up. Little mute. After being pampered for 3 years, his little girl, whom he held in the palm of his hand, suddenly wasn't mute anymore. Liam was practically laughing with anger. Don't tell me this is some kind of medical miracle. Haha, that cold joke wasn't funny at all. There was nowhere to hide from his scorching gaze fixed on me. I could only desperately cover my face with my hands. Little mute, speak. I shook my head, my voice muffled. Mutes can't talk. Liam pinched his forehead, looking at the little girl in front of him, whose face was flushed and who wished she could hide. He was somewhat helpless. Don't you have anything to say? I bit my lip, feeling a little confused. Yes, I had pretended to be mute and tricked him. I wouldn't defend myself, and the severance pay had already arrived. What else was there to say? I had nothing to say, but clearly, I had to say something at this moment. Thinking from another angle, what would Liam want to hear? What would he like to hear? Suddenly, inspiration struck. Brother. Liam's breathing hitched. As a cultured person, I desperately recalled the indescribable, colorful novels I had read in the past. After picking and choosing, I finally found a phrase I could utter. Brother, you're so big and amazing. I love it. I praised him haltingly, carefully moving 2 fingers away from my eyes to glance at Liam's expression. His eyebrows were raised, and the corners of his mouth weren't taut. He didn't seem angry. I had been pretending to be mute to avoid this for so long, but in the end, I couldn't escape. Fortunately, tonight was my last night as a canary. I racked my brain, searching through all my mental inventory. Brother, you were so strong tonight, like you took some kind of medicine. Liam's face instantly darkened. What did you say? Say it again. I swallowed. Was there something wrong with that? Did he not like it? Brother wasn't right either. After all, Liam was older. He couldn't appreciate the brother-sister sentiment. My heart pounded like a drum. I summoned my courage and repeated, Daddy, you were so strong tonight. The rest of my words were swallowed by a sticky, soft kiss. The man grabbed my hand, which didn't know where to go, and it moved lower and lower. Liam's dark eyes, in the dim light of the bedside lamp, seemed to glow green. Little mute, say it again. As dawn approached, The man was as excited as if he had discovered a new world. I buried my wet head in the pillow, dizzily thinking, good thing I wisely pretended to be mute for 3 years, otherwise I definitely would have died in bed. When I woke up again, it was already afternoon. My whole body ached, and my throat was so hoarse from shouting all night that I couldn't speak. Now I was truly mute. I dragged my prosthetic legs downstairs. The housekeeper, Maria, saw me, nodded in greeting, and then went into the kitchen to bring me a warm bowl of porridge. After that, she disappeared as quietly as a phantom. Liam knew I didn't like interacting with strangers, so he had instructed everyone who came and went in the house to minimize their presence. This was incredibly friendly to someone with social anxiety. The more I thought about it, the more I felt that Liam was actually quite nice. He had money and good looks. What should be subtle was subtle, and what shouldn't be was still enough. His only flaw was that he had another woman in his heart. Sigh. I sighed for 3 seconds. My hand inadvertently opened the $30 million transfer record. It seems I don't love him that much anymore. Huh? My heart was too small. It only had room for money. As for Liam, forget it. Given how good he was, I should help him out. Thinking this, I lay back on the bed with a clear conscience and opened a novel from the bookshelf. Chapter 1, The Moonlight Returns. Okay, I need to learn from this. Half an hour later, I was fuming at the mute male and female protagonists. I expressionlessly exited the novel and opened WhatsApp, sending Liam a peeking cat emoji. Liam replied instantly. Awake? Maria kept the porridge warm for you. Okay, don't be greedy. Does your mouth still hurt? Feeling better? A capable man asks if you're tired. An exceptionally capable man asks if you're hurting and if you're better. I buried myself in the covers, kicking my legs wildly. After a long while, I replied coolly, Liam didn't reply instantly again. He was probably busy. I took the opportunity to share the public account messages I had collected. Don't miss the one beside you. No matter how well a man speaks, it's not as good as direct action. 30 clever ways to chase a girl, catering to her preferences. I sent nearly 10 messages before I contentedly opened my game. I played for over 2 hours. When I finally checked my messages again, I saw that Liam had already replied. Received. What does that mean? Did he send a work message by mistake? The next second, I received a call from Liam's assistant, George. Confused, I went downstairs to open the door. The assistant pulled out a black card and handed it to me. MS. Right. This is a supplementary card Mr. Miller asked me to bring to you. My eyes widened like fried eggs. F for me? George is usually taut. Robotic expression crumbled in that instant. MS. Right. You're not mute? We stared at each other. I guess I hadn't told him the truth. This was hilarious. Frying George's elite CPU. After I explained, George pushed up his glasses, his brain restarting. My apologies, I haven't seen much. I pursed my lips, and George awkwardly changed the subject. I heard Mr. Miller is going to pick up someone important this afternoon. George nodded. Yes, MS. Right. Would you like to come along? The stand-in going to pick up the moonlight? Are you straight guys insane? I smiled faintly. Isn't that a bit inappropriate? George seemed to realize something and changed his mind. It is a bit sudden. It's better to be mentally prepared before meeting her. What was going on? Couldn't this moonlight just not be met? I immediately bypassed the topic. Liam is so busy with the pickup. Did you help him prepare flowers or gifts or anything? Is there a welcome party tonight? MS. Right. You don't need to worry about that. Mr. Miller made arrangements last month. He prepared it last month? He really takes this seriously. I looked down at the black card in my hand, feeling an indescribable mix of emotions. A little sour, a little bitter. After all, we had been together for 3 years. It was impossible not to have any emotional fluctuations, to prevent myself from having any extraneous thoughts. After bidding George farewell, I curled back up in bed and played games. I played until dawn, until my eyes ached and my head was spinning. I threw my phone aside and instantly fell asleep. Half awake, half asleep, I heard the door open. My blurry eyes dimly caught sight of a man's naked back in the darkened room, a back as broad and muscular as a mountain, yet with a narrow waist and a clear spinal groove running down the center. Was I dreaming of Liam too? I inwardly chastised myself for being so weak and rolled over to continue sleeping. I hadn't yet fallen into a deep sleep when cool lips landed on my forehead, moving to my eyelids and the tip of my nose, finally settling on my swollen lips. I was dazed by the kisses. When Liam reached for my leg, I woke up abruptly, instantly springing up from the bed. So, I hadn't been dreaming after all. Why are you back? Liam had just come out of the bathroom, clad only in a white bath towel. The dim wall lamp illuminated his pale skin. His 8-pack abs brazenly tempted me, whether from the front or the back. I could only think of one word to describe this man: lethal. I licked my lips, suddenly feeling thirsty. Can't I come back? Liam looked at the time and explained. I worked a bit late, but thankfully, everything's handled. No need to rush to the office tomorrow. I was a little confused. Worked late? Didn't you cancel everything to pick someone up? George told you? Liam spread his hands helplessly. He changed his flight and didn't tell me. I waited at the airport for 3 hours before I found out he hadn't boarded. He's probably still mad and deliberately messing with me. I clicked my tongue in disapproval. This Moonlight sounded a bit difficult to appease. But then again, if she were easy to appease, they would have been together already, and there wouldn't have been a need for a stand-in like me. What's the matter? Liam finished speaking and beckoned me over. Is it still swollen? Come here. Let me see. Before, even if I was annoyed, I would obediently go over. But now, did you see the messages I sent you on WhatsApp? Liam nodded. That card has no limit. Spend whatever you want. Isn't that catering to your preferences? Damn it. I was tempted again. I struggled to look away. A man who doesn't respect himself is like rotten cabbage. Liam clearly didn't understand what I was saying. He patted the spot next to him, inviting me to sit and talk. I cautiously surveyed him, confirming that his eyes looked perfectly normal, even with a hint of being in sage mode. Only then did I reluctantly go over. Sitting down, I earnestly advised him. The past is the past, and now is now. No matter what barriers or misunderstandings exist, if two people want to be together, the first thing is to cut off inappropriate relationships. Then, give her a legitimate identity to stand by your side, giving her ample security. Liam looked thoughtful. So, your suggestion is to prevent Liam and his Moonlight from dragging things out with hundreds of misunderstandings. I decided to fast forward directly to the marriage proposal. Since the two loved each other, my suggestion is to just get married. After that day, Liam indeed became busy, but he didn't kick me out. He still kept me well fed and cared for. I didn't understand. Did he still want to string along 2 women? I sent my speculation to the group. Chloe quickly replied. Normal men are just like that. Their spiritual love is above the waist, and their carnal love is below the waist. He loves his Moonlight, and he loves you. This red rose. I furiously pounded the bed. Sure enough, Liam wasn't a good guy either. No, this couldn't go on. If he wouldn't kick me out, I'd leave myself. I pulled out my suitcase and went into the walk-in closet. I realized there was simply too much to take with me. I didn't enjoy shopping, so Liam would simply buy all the seasonal new arrivals and have them delivered to the house. If there wasn't enough space, he'd clear out some old items and move them to another location. That reminded me, Liam had bought another villa nearby specifically for this reason. At the time, he said he'd transfer the deed to me, but I refused, finding it troublesome to go out and difficult to sell. I packed the clothes and bags I liked. What I couldn't take, I secretly shipped out. When I returned, I ran into George. He handed me a form. MS. Right. I'm planning to propose to my girlfriend. Could you help me fill out this questionnaire? I glanced at it. There were questions about preferring a Chinese or Western style, and favored venues, outdoors or indoors, whether she minded relatives and friends being present, and so on. There were many questions, and they were very detailed. Shouldn't you ask your girlfriend these questions? George's expression stiffened slightly. My girlfriend is quite similar to you. MS. Right. A proposal is a surprise, so it's not good to ask her directly. I keenly sensed something was off. You. George's eyes darted away, not daring to meet mine. You don't like me, do you? Absolutely not. He quickly explained. I mean, her personality is very similar to yours. MS. Right. Other than that, there are big differences. It still felt strange, but I took the form and filled it out anyway. As a socially anxious person, I would definitely choose an indoor venue, considering that a proposal needed atmosphere and witnesses. And if it's a proposal, George's girlfriend should have already met her relatives and friends beforehand, rather than having strangers present. It's better to have relatives and friends. So, I marked do not mind. Just like that, I put myself in her shoes and analyzed everything, filling out the form. I wish you happiness. George took the form and put it away. It's not your happiness. I knew this guy was weird. Mr. Miller is going to propose to his moonlight. I heard his moonlight likes dolphins, so he'll propose at the aquarium. That simple? I thought it would at least be a full-screen projection with fireworks. A grand and romantic spectacle like that. When I read this, I couldn't resist commenting. Full-screen projections and all that would be too awkward. An aquarium is so much better. The animals are cute, and the seawater is very romantic. My words were quickly ignored as they discussed the jewelry that would appear at the proposal. I boredly put away my phone, suddenly realizing that the moonlight not only looked like me but also shared similar preferences. It was rare to find two people so alike in the world. After just finishing some gossip in the group, I saw the main character that evening. Liam hung his coat on the hanger and casually asked, "No company matters the day after tomorrow. Want to go to the aquarium?" At the mention of aquarium, I instantly thought of the proposal. Just the two of us? Liam leaned closer. "If you mind, it can be just us." What was all this about? I was utterly confused. I asked directly, "What about Lily? Isn't she coming?" Liam paused, adjusting his tie. He turned to stare at me. "You know?" I nodded. "Unless something unexpected happened. I believe I do." Suddenly, my waist was grabbed, and my feet left the ground. The next second, I was sitting sideways on his lap. He lowered his head slightly, gently touching my forehead. "Don't worry, she'll like you." I froze. What did he mean? She'll like you? Was he openly keeping a canary? I couldn't take it. Not even a little bit. I dodged Liam's lips as he leaned in to kiss me. "You're filthy and disgusting." Liam, who had been inexplicably insulted, had a flicker of confusion in his eyes. His arms emptied, and the little girl scurried away. Perhaps I'd been too rough on her before? He was puzzled as he chased me into the bedroom, only to see a retreating back that had completely rolled itself into the blankets. "Don't come in. You're sleeping in the study tonight." The man's hand reached under the covers. I then remembered I was just a canary and timidly waited for Liam to explode. But all I got was the blanket being pulled down. "It's not breathable. Don't suffocate yourself." His hand slid down and gently patted my lower back as if to soothe me. "Be good. I won't touch you." With that, Liam stepped past me, grabbed another pillow, and left the bedroom. My taut heart uncontrollably began to pound. I squeezed my sweaty palms. "Chloe, you're such a love-struck fool." I hit my head against the headboard several times. I told myself I couldn't delay. Tomorrow I had to leave. Liam had been somewhat uneasy since morning. He looked over a project document repeatedly, but still couldn't sign it. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something and called George into the office. "Did you tell Chloe about Lily?" George froze. "Miss Wright asked me about the pickup herself." Like a bolt of lightning, Liam abruptly stood up, his voice tight. "Did you tell her who Lily was?" George looked a bit lost. "Didn't Mr. Miller tell Miss Wright?" "Excellent," Liam said, his face cold. He finally realized the problem was sleeping in the study last night. He had to rush back and explain to his little princess at home. Just then, there was a knock on the office door. "Mr. Miller, there's a package from Miss Wright." When he opened it, it was none other than the black card he had given her. Liam felt that things were starting to go wrong. Before he could even dial, he received a message from Chloe. "You're proposing to your moonlight, and I'm going back to my hometown to find my childhood sweetheart. I wish us both a happy future." He immediately called her, only to find that Chloe had blocked him. George watched Liam's expression gradually stiffen. He slowly looked up, the muscles in his cheeks twitching slightly, as if his wife had cheated on him. "Buy me a plane ticket. One that leaves now." Immediately. Actually, that childhood sweetheart wasn't really a lie to Liam. I really was going to find a brother I had known since childhood. The plane landed, I transferred to a car, and in one go, I reached my destination. But standing at the entrance of the apartment complex, I hesitated again. How do you find someone? Ask everyone one by one? So many years had passed. Maybe he had already moved away. People came and went at the complex entrance, but I felt as if my feet were rooted to the ground.